of very intense discussions. Je vais parler en anglais et Dorcy va parler en français. C'est bon? Pour tout le monde? Okay. So it's been 2 days of very intense discussions, thought-provoking ideas, maybe more questions than we have answers, and exhibitions of talent that should really leave us in no doubt that creativity and imagination are alive and well, not just in Kigali or Lagos or Nairobi, but also, and perhaps more importantly, across the generations. But just as it's important to celebrate and engage collectively with our ideas and vision, it's even more important that the sharing and comparing of our stories actually leads somewhere. So bringing people together is one step, but where we go next is just as important. We came together over the past 2 days to discuss two things. One is the bigger picture question about the role of the creative industries and culture in the economy of a developing African country, which is partly a political question, and the other more specific issue was to consider reappropriating an existing building in Kigali by turning it into a cultural center, an arts hub, or an institute of contemporary arts. And there are many names for buildings like the kind that we would all like to see. But the history of these kinds of institutions, whether an art gallery or a performing arts center, a center for crafts or a school of dance, is a challenge for the developing world, and in general not just Africa, because the conditions under which institutes like the one we've been dreaming of are supported differently in different parts of the world. And in general, without state support, such endeavors do not get off the ground. Yet one of the strengths of creatives everywhere is the ability to think creatively, to think outside the box, to find connections and solutions where there were only once problems, and to work intelligently and imaginatively through the labyrinth of obstacles until a path appears. Whatever else, in the room upstairs and here today, there is considerable intellectual and creative horsepower, and it is up to us to find a way forward. There's two things I want to say very, very briefly. One is that the role of culture in economic development is not something that economists are generally comfortable talking about. I think there's a broad understanding that culture is important in terms of guiding people along a particular path. But there is also real reluctance, not just with economists, to engage too deeply with the subject for fear of appearing to criticize other cultures, even within the same nation. Also, cultures change, sometimes too fast for us to keep pace with or understand, but anthropologists tell us that cultural change begins with the process of innovation, and that cultural borrowing or diffusion, where ideas from one culture to another are spread and absorbed, is by far the most common reason for change. I want to make two very, very quick points about culture in general, which I think are pertinent to the discussion and to the outcome and to the plan of action that is so important in meetings like this one. And the first has to do with Neanderthals. And does everybody know what I mean when I say a Neanderthal? Yep. So the first has to do with the encounter between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, our ancestors. And Neanderthals disappeared from the earth about 40,000 years ago, and Homo sapiens have continued to this day. And over the past 2 decades, scientists have uncovered an enormous amount of information about how both species lived. And they now believe that the reason Homo sapiens survived and Neanderthals didn't is down to one thing, which is art. Neanderthals lived in small, isolated communities and did not have the means to spread ideas from one group to another. But Homo sapiens, on the other hand, developed large social networks which allowed the exchange of mates on the one hand and ideas on the other. But it's the way that Homo sapiens spread ideas that I find fascinating. They exchanged their knowledge of animals, crops, and natural disasters through their art. The earliest rock paintings were not just rock paintings, they were messages from one group of Homo sapiens to another. Art made community possible amongst groups of people who might have lived as far apart as France and Romania, which long before EasyJet was a very long way away. So art is not only an expression of our identities, it is also fundamental to our survival. And the second very short point I would like to make is that development is not only about reducing poverty, it is also in a very fundamental way about adopting a set of values that are compatible with and capable of humanity's moral development. I asked students this morning if they thought that the point of architecture was to change the world, and not many of them agreed with that. But that is not their failing, it is ours. If we as teachers and parents are not able to inspire the generation beneath us to think more broadly about making the world a more just, more sustainable, and more equitable place, then we really have failed. And it's in that context that I think the discussions today about a new kind of cultural and creative safe space in Kigali are so important. So Dorcy and I would like to ask each of the panelists one single question, in no particular order. I'm going to start with Joe.
You know,
I haven't asked you the question yet.
She's been doing this since we were in kindergarten. She's always picking on me. Okay, go on.
So one of the issues that you have brought up repeatedly is the need to capitalize on what's already here. Is the need to capitalize on what is already here. In other words, not to see this proposed center as something new, but rather as an extension of what is already going on in terms of the production of culture in Kigali. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's very important as we, at least I can talk from the West African perspective, that there are great synergies to be had from what others are doing, no matter the scale. When I'll use my own personal story. When I decided to create a place, I remember there was a meeting of artists like this, and it was about the complaints, about funding, the usual. But amongst us were people who had places that had always inspired me. So I went from that meeting with very grand ideas that I would find and do a big project out of it. In the process, I started very small. But it got my feet wet and my appetite up for how these ideas could mushroom and become something else. And somebody touched on, don't get too fixated or fixed on the original idea. So it's a very organic process. And so yes, we need to celebrate and highlight what people are doing, even from their bedrooms. Because these are all gathering spaces. For me, the whole idea is we need to bring people together. Finish.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is for Berend. Amsterdam has a long history of adapting and reusing its historical buildings. What would you say is the most important step to getting this kind of initiative underway?
I would just advise to start. Just make a start, try to find a space. Take example of Visual or Arche Africa, who with little means made a first step and brought people together. I think that is a very important step. The examples from Hanoi, or this one is not very stable, but maybe this way it goes. So be active while you start, be visible and start to connect, and be the operator that nobody should miss, and expand your audience in this way. Meanwhile, work on an excellent plan, business plan, and make sure that that through your audience you can bring this with confidence and growing confidence. By that time that you're not to be missed by the public and the private sector, and you can bring a strong case, and then you can start realizing what has been achieved in Nairobi, in Lagos, and in Douala. So keep on being active and innovative, and learn from the structured and strategic plans from Go Down, with strategic plans every other couple of years, or the plans from Lagos with the street kids, or the 3-year circle that Douala uses with the triennial as a sort of evaluative event. So in this way you keep on improving and innovating yourself. And I think this was also part of Amin's advice. So this is what I would advise.
Okay, great. So I'm going to ask Hervé, as an actor and somebody with a strong interest in social media, can you think of creative ways to harness the power of social media to give life to this project virtually before it actually exists in reality. And for example, you talked about starting a hashtag campaign for the reuse of the prison. And in Rwanda, which has an extremely active and sophisticated social media culture, how would you suggest we go about it? What's the hashtag?
The hashtag, I suggest, from the top of my head, the hashtag is AfriCap. Hashtag AfriCap. So it involves everything that's going to happen, not just the prison, not just whatever, a platform of information. I suggested to Dorcy, because Rwanda Arts Initiative already has a website, that we had un autre onglet, another segment, where people will go to actually see all what is happening, because at some point, Modesta was talking about it, sometimes things happen and we don't know. So we're going to make it our duty, me and my communication team in the name of Norbert somewhere here, to make sure that everything that's happening in Kigali and or in Africa for that matter will be on that page on a regular and updatable base, pretty much live. Like you can actually be there and we can connect you to where it's happening if you're there. So that's the first platform. Second platform would be, you need to connect with somebody, some of you who know famous people. Find somebody with 100,000, 50 million followers somewhere. Have him hashtag that hashtag, and you will see something change. Because at some point, if you want something, don't ask for it, you just take it. These politics that you've been talking to, at some point they will wonder what it is, and why is it that everybody's talking about it? How come they see it on t-shirts, on buses, on cars, on stickers, on your laptops, on your phones? Why you use it all the time, okay? Because we cannot be sitting somewhere and waiting for them to get on board so we can go. The message here is, the bus is on the move, are you getting in, yes or no? So basically that's that. I'm going to be sending this information soon enough. So Rwanda Arts Initiative on the website, we're going to launch the hashtag from there. It could change, the name could change, like nothing is installed so far. But literally, it's a calendar, it's a meeting. If you have an idea, I don't care if you're writing happy birthday to somebody, you sign it hashtag AfroCap. And within 1 week, you're going to see a change clearly. Because if you can post cat videos, you can do this.
Thank you.
The next question is for Joy. You went through the same cycles of idea, innovation, fundraising, institution building in Nairobi 10 or 15 years ago when Go Down was founded. What advice do you have for those seeking to do the same here? What are some of opportunities you were able to draw, and how did you leverage support?
No, thank you. I think that as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that we began to do was to learn the city. But you also have to learn the resourcing that is possible within your city. So over the 16 years, one of the things that we've realized is just how important and valuable the relationships that we've built over that time are now as we begin to think about a more homegrown, endogenous philanthropy or support. And I'll just share 9 of the approaches that we are currently using to fundraise. I think the first thing that we need to do is to keep gaining knowledge. So one of the things that we did was to research the idea of local giving. We asked the Kenyan public, would you give to this space? It was a concept research. We showed them the building, we showed them the concept. And how much would you give? And the general mwananchi, the general everyday person, said they could give an average of $5. So we started a $5 campaign. Now this $5 campaign is to match the first strategy. The first strategy came from the Go Down board and the Go Down staff. They committed to conserving any surpluses that would come into the institution with a vision for this moment. So the moment of launch, we already had $1 million that was raised by the board and the Go Down. This is important leverage for everybody else who's trying to give us money. They go, what, you've got $1 million? Okay, we now want to support the campaign. So the $5 campaign from the Wananchi, which is the second strategy, is to have a baseline of 200,000 Kenyans, and we hope that we'll exceed that, who will match what the Go Down has raised. There's a matching there. Now the third strategy is that we have realized, and again, this is knowing your resourcing strategies, is what is the philanthropic practice of your community? Kenyans are very generous people, but they tend to give to family and to friends. The idea of giving at a civic scale, of giving to something that is for public good, is new. So we've started a process of educating and trying to leverage money from mid to high net worth individuals. And so these are people that we're targeting for $1,000 to $3,000. And already we've got people who are giving in that category. The high net worth individuals, we already have people who are giving to us $10,000 plus. So again, it is work, it is a journey. So that is the third strategy. The fourth and fifth strategies have to do with government. The local government is the fourth, and the national government is the fifth. Now, government, as we know, it's going to be difficult to get grants or money, but a government endorsement becomes important when you're now seeking bilateral partner support, because your government is with you. They're also likely to be with you in certain aspects of their funding of the creative economy. So this one is important. But the other thing around government is that as they can give you tax concessions, and we're looking for that, but the other thing that they can do is to actually give value to the project by beginning to think about, and this is what Kigali is doing, by beginning to think about land use for cultural activities within a city. We are putting in approvals for this building right now, and guess what? There is no definition of this thing. So we're putting it in as a mixed-use development cultural. We're actually creating a new category, mixed-use development cultural. So these things begin to be important in terms of pushing the policy question around supporting these very things. But then the government endorsement also gives you legitimacy. This is important, that they walk along with you. And then hopefully they will begin to release some budget allocations that can come towards you as well. We're seeing two areas of budget allocation from government. Because the building has public-facing activities, and remember Amin spoke about what is your anchor project and what are the sort of satellite activities around this. We have a small museum of the city as part of this project, and we also have a public library. Now these are two things that local government can partner in. So we're hoping that in their partnership, they will also resource some of these spaces. The sixth one, I'm trying to see here, is it the sixth? Yes. Yeah, the sixth one, and that actually should have been the fourth, is the corporates. We know that corporates have been our great supporters in the arts. Corporates can be fickle, but now you begin to be a bit strategic around what are they going to name within this building. But also to be careful that they don't name the whole thing. It doesn't become the Coca-Cola Go Down Art Center, but how do you get smart around their naming? And one of the things that we're asking them to do is to name the contribution of artists in the space. There are many spaces over there that are going to be populated by artists' work. The stairwell, the staircase, all of these things are going to be fantastic artworks. Can these corporates support these? And these things will be $10,000 plus. So that is the sixth strategy. The seventh strategy is that, of course, we have an artistic diaspora. And the artistic diaspora is not just Kenyans abroad or Africans abroad. It's also all of our other international friends abroad. And we are asking them to match the 1 million that the GODAN has already given. The diplomatic corps are important. They are the friends who support a lot of the things that you're doing in your country. They're actually important leverage for inviting government if you're finding government is sticky. We have used the French ambassador, the Swedish ambassador, and they've been very generous in co-inviting with us presentations that we make around this project, government ministers. And the government ministers pitch up because this is now sitting at the level of diplomacy. And then they find that who is there? Oh, it's a go down with the ambassador. So leverage them that way. But then as you move forward, be aware of what they're supporting. Right now, the Swedish government is supporting culture once again through CEDA. The French government is supporting the creative and cultural industries through the development fund, AFD. So again, look to these things and see whether there's grants or loans, low interest loans, that connect to your particular project. And then the final one, which is the ninth one. We own the property. So the property is collateral, so to speak. This is the last option. We don't want to have debt, but it is an option. So is it possible that we could have debt financing as a part of the strategy? But also, is it possible that there is options for equity for shareholders within the strategy as well? So these are some of the things that I hope we can continue to talk about and to see how some of these might be useful in your wonderful initiative.
I think I have to say, it's an amazing example of thinking creatively through a problem. So great. So I've got a question for Christina. the student. Is she here? Fantastic. So, I mean, American and European schools of architecture have a very long tradition of sending students to other countries to work. My experience in Africa is that this is a fairly recent phenomena, going to another African country to work on an African project. What was the most inspiring thing about this event for you?
The most inspiring thing for me, I'll say, for particularly within the workshop, the most inspiring thing for me was how in 1 week, in fact less than 1 week, a group of 6 people who have met for the first time were able to get an idea. First of all, agree on something. Mm-hmm. That's very difficult. We agreed on something, and then we worked together to communicate to people of different backgrounds, different fields, and I'd like to think that at least we communicated. Someone understood something from this group of people, right? I think it says something about unity. In Uganda, we're very diverse, and we try to emphasize the difference between the people. Getting here, I was asking, usually I ask people about what makes them different. And people were reluctant to tell me what makes them different. They wanted to show themselves as a whole, particularly the Rwandans. And I was questioning it. So when I visited the memorial, I understood from, I think this is a story that each of us might have had before, of the classroom, the classroom that had different groups of people, where the people came in and asked, where do you fall? And one girl said, I am Rwandan, right? So from that story, I understood the need for unity, you know? It's good to celebrate the difference, but it's also good to celebrate the oneness, because when you become one, there's a lot that can happen in a very short time. And I think that's the one thing that has inspired me in this forum, workshop, this event.
Thank you, Laura. Round of applause, thank you.
The next question is for Modesta. As someone living in 2 places, in Europe and in Africa, Belgium and Rwanda, which one foot is each camp, as it were? What role do you think the diaspora might play, either in the development of such a center or institution, or in disseminating its work to the outside world?
Thank you. So that's a very good question. So if I understand correctly, the question is about, so what is the role that diaspora can play to support this, right? And promote it. So first I'd like to speak about it from my own perspective and you know, tell a story that is compelling and relevant to me. So I think this gives an opportunity for us as, you know, part of the diaspora to connect with the continent, right? So, and of course, when you live in, as I do, in Luxembourg and Belgium, so in Europe, you definitely feel that you have a diverse identity, right? So you have roots, and then through the experience and the journey that you have in those countries, you feel that you connect and you belong to those places, be it here in Rwanda or in Belgium. So I think the first thing is definitely the connection, so really connecting the dots, and promoting and telling a story to those that are in Luxembourg, for me on Belgium about the great things that are happening here. So I think definitely is to, give visibility, share stories, promote from wherever we are. So that's what I would say.
Okay, great. So we've got two questions, one to Norbert, which I'm going to ask, and then the final question is for Dorcy, which will also finish this session. So Norbert, and you're going to have to forgive me because I'm assuming that you are closer in age to the students who took part in this than they are to us. And what would you say was the most interesting thing about the architectural visions that they presented, specifically the architectural visions?
So I would say, I liked the fact that they were linking art and the innovative part of architecture. So you could see, they really understood what we have been asked to them. They were not only looking at the architectural part of their job, what they're studying, but they really included it very well in the sector of art. That's really what I really liked in their work.
I think it speaks to the point that architecture is a wider category than just the building of a building, which I think is a really important one in this context.
Yeah.
And so the final question I have is for Dorcy, which is to say that I think it was Daniel Burnham, who's the American architect and urban planner, who once said that, make no small plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood, and they probably will not be realized. And he was born in a time of great expansion, the building of great American cities, the settlement of California, and so on. But the sentiment, make no small plans, is still true. And at one level, the repurposing of the central prison in Kigali is not a master plan for a city of millions, but it's nevertheless a hugely important step. Can you say something about why this project is so important to you?
Yeah, I will just answer in French to be more precise. Bon, la prison, comme d'autres bâtiments d'ailleurs, parce qu'il y en a plusieurs que nous avons pu identifier dans le travail de recherche qui a précédé à ce forum, me paraît extrêmement important. Je regarde les opportunités et je regarde vraiment ce pays qui est l'un des pays les plus jeunes. Quand je vois ce que nous avons vu hier soir à l'école d'architecture et cette jeunesse et son talent et sa force et son envie de s'exprimer, en fait, qu'il y a des choses à dire, qu'il y a des choses à montrer, qu'il y a des choses à proposer au monde aussi, je me dis, qu'est-ce qu'ils pourraient réellement donner s'ils avaient une unité de production? Un endroit où ils peuvent se rencontrer et partager, avoir des conditions confortables de pouvoir passer du temps à créer, des conditions où ils peuvent rencontrer des gens aussi qui viennent de partout et dans le monde, et des conditions de représentation. Je me dis que c'est une opportunité qui me paraît à moi, ainsi qu'à beaucoup de gens, je pense, extraordinaire. Parce qu'elle est exponentielle. Ce n'est pas comme une énergie fossile qui va s'éteindre à un moment. C'est quelque chose qui va de façon exponentielle et qui participe aussi à tant de choses dont on a discuté ici, à se connaître, à se reconnaître, à une intégration régionale et qui ira bien au-delà. Et donc, il me semble que c'est un peu comme un cultivateur de café, c'est-à-dire qu'à un moment donné, il peut tout faire, mais s'il n'a pas de lepin de terre, c'est quand même difficile. Donc, il faut un champ. Et parler d'un lieu physique, c'est parler effectivement pour moi d'un endroit, d'une unité de production, quelque chose qui permet réellement de produire du rêve, de produire du sens, de produire aussi des œuvres. Et ça me paraît extrêmement important. Et j'en profite réellement pour aller au-delà de la question. Merci Leslie, merci à toi. Merci à ce panel et toutes les personnes qui nous ont accompagnés, parce que nous avons vécu, et je l'espère que c'est partagé, 2 jours absolument excitantes et passionnantes, qui nous ont appris à nous connaître déjà, de voir des choses très inspirantes faites de par le monde, d'avoir la chance justement de rencontrer une expertise qui vient de partout et très pointue. d'avoir des jeunes qui nous ont donné leur talent, leur énergie et qui ont porté nos rêves. D'ailleurs, ça c'est aussi quelque chose d'incroyable parce que nous, artistes d'ici, et ça c'est un travail effectivement que a fait Hervé, de recueillir justement les avis des artistes ici, de voir qu'ils sont portés et mis en application, essayés par des étudiants qui viennent de partout. Et donc ça c'est quelque chose sur lequel effectivement nous vivrons et que nous essaierons de faire fructifier. Je regarde ce travail dans les étapes qui l'ont précédé et ce qui nous amène ici. Et du coup, je me dis, qu'est-ce qui vient par la suite, maintenant que nous arrivons à la fin de ces travaux? Pour les retracer, j'aimerais justement... Nous sommes partis d'une recherche et de ce mapping. Ça nous a donné une idée d'une circulation réellement de l'art dans la ville de Kigali. Nous en avons une idée plus ou moins concrète sur la manière dont cette ville peut se développer à court, à moyen et à long terme, avec des propositions, des espaces, des choses adaptables. Et la chose la plus passionnante, c'est qu'on se rend compte que c'est possible. C'est possible non seulement dans l'idée, mais aussi le workshop avec les étudiants qui fut l'étape 2 nous a permis de voir effectivement à quoi ça pourrait ressembler. Et réellement, et ça c'est extrêmement important. C'est pour nous, en tout cas, qui sommes sur le terrain, dans un travail de plaidoyer, auprès des pouvoirs publics, auprès des privés et de la société civile sur cette question, nous avons là quelque chose d'extrêmement convaincant qui nous permet même d'aller au-delà du discours, parce que nous pouvons produire des modèles, de dire regardez ce que ça pourrait devenir. Et ça, c'est déjà extrêmement important que l'on puisse déjà en avoir une idée, une conception ensemble. Je crois qu'on a beaucoup parlé de conception. Je me rappelle justement ton intervention, Leslie. C'est une idée vraiment, c'est le design en fait. Voilà. On part d'un rêve et puis on le matérialise déjà par une imagerie et qui est extrêmement parlante et qui donne envie. Ça, c'est quelque chose d'absolument important. Et puis nous sommes arrivés à ce forum en écoutant différents types de catégories d'expertise. L'architecture qui nous a apporté des réponses concrètes et un avis justement sur ces questions, de voir des projets de référence à travers l'Afrique et même au-delà, c'est quelque chose en fait qui nous renforce, qui nous donne une force incroyable de voir effectivement le nouveau projet du Go Down Center, de se dire tiens, c'est déjà en cours, ça va se faire, et donc why not, puisque tiens, c'est en train d'être fait ici à côté de chez nous à 1h30 d'avion, et donc quelque part c'est là. C'est là, et donc c'est à portée de main, puisque aussi ça a créé un réseau sur lequel nous pouvons désormais nous appuyer, et que le jour, effectivement, c'est pas le jour, c'est demain, on va s'y attaquer. De toute façon, on pourra compter sur toi et sur toutes les énergies qui sont ici. Et maintenant, nous avons fini avec la question financière, effectivement, qui est très importante pour nous. Nous, en tout cas, à Rwanda Arts Initiative, nous croyons que la question de la des industries créatives, c'est une question de développement aussi. Qu'il faut que les gens qui se consacrent à ce métier puissent en vivre bien pour en faire vivre aussi leur famille, et que ce soit un métier, des métiers d'opportunité, où l'on prospère, où on fait... on fait vivre aussi sa communauté et son pays. Et ça, c'est quelque chose où nous avons eu des éclaircissements, et nous allons partager ça à toutes les personnes. Et je crois qu'on n'a pas encore atteint la distance nécessaire pour apprécier tout ce que nous avons reçu pendant ces 2 jours. Et donc, nous allons devoir encore nous replonger là-dessus. Et d'ailleurs, j'en profite pour apprendre ou rappeler à ceux qui ne le savaient pas que tout était filmé et transmis en live streaming. Et tous ceux donc qui souhaiteront revoir ces travaux, qui ont raté un panel ou un autre, peuvent toujours aller sur la page Facebook de Rwanda Art Initiative et que vous pouvez reprendre et regarder l'ensemble des débats qu'il y a eu ici. En tout cas, nous partons avec déjà un bagage absolument important, une source d'inspiration absolument importante, et ça nous permet vraiment de passer à l'étape suivante, laquelle comporte d'abord les résolutions de ce travail, de ce forum de Kigali, qui s'est extrêmement bien déroulé, et nous espérons que ce soit réellement un forum de référence et qui pourront servir aussi dans d'autres villes qui sont confrontées à la même question tout simplement. Et donc, cela veut dire que les travaux et les résolutions qui sortiront de ce forum feront l'objet d'une publication. Et donc, nous y travaillons pour être aussi proposés à des organisations internationales, à UN Habitat, à l'UCLG, à Africité et à d'autres, justement, pour que ce puisse être vu, lu et partagé dans beaucoup d'endroits. Mais cela nous mène à nous, au combat auquel nous devons nous atteler. Je sais que certains étudiants continueront à travailler sur le projet, notamment les étudiants qui viennent du Cap, en Afrique du Sud. Et nous attendons impatiemment d'avoir les résultats de leurs travaux, leurs présentations aussi. Et un grand merci de continuer ce travail. Et en tout cas, là où vous nous laissez, et dans ce travail, justement, comme disait Bérendt, il faut commencer. J'aimerais pouvoir dire, en tout cas, nous, de la part des opérateurs culturels sur place, ça nous permet immédiatement d'approcher les partenaires nécessaires à un tel projet, c'est-à-dire au pouvoir public, au privé, aux organisations internationales et à la société civile, pour leur dire qu'il est tout à fait possible, dès demain, d'avoir un centre d'art qui remplit réellement les besoins absolument identifiés par la communauté artistique. Et que non seulement ça, mais aussi nous voulons proposer un timing sur des choses que nous pouvons faire dès maintenant, des choses qui sont possibles à court terme et des choses qui sont possibles à long terme, en prenant en compte 3 critères: l'environnement d'un espace ou d'un bâtiment, les modèles financiers possibles sur lesquels nous avons travaillé et la dynamique de l'industrie créative ici au Rwanda. Et que c'est là aussi, c'est une part que nous devons apporter. Ça ne sert à rien de faire un espace grand pour 50 000 personnes alors que nous n'arrivons pas encore à pouvoir créer une activité tous les soirs. Et donc, c'est ça aussi, cette progression et cette réflexion nous permettra justement d'aller tranquillement à une proposition de timing. Et tout ceci, évidemment, comme je l'ai rappelé depuis le début de ce forum, qu'il se fait sous la tutelle du ministère et au patronage du ministère des Sports et de la Culture, et qui est notre interlocuteur premier. Et nous espérons justement, dès les prochaines dates, passer par une appropriation justement par les stratégies publiques des travaux et des résolutions qui sortent de ce forum. Je voudrais terminer réellement en remerciant. En remerciant l'ensemble, évidemment, des personnes qui nous ont accompagnés, à commencer par nos partenaires, le Beaux-Arts et African Architect Matters, à Bérendt et Kathleen Lowe, qui nous accompagnent sur ce projet depuis plus d'1 an, je crois. Et que ça a été un travail très long, très passionnant et très fatigant parfois, mais qui aujourd'hui, en tout cas, nous permet de voir, de partager ces 2 moments. Et alors, l'ensemble des participants, des invités, des experts, des universités qui sont venus dans ce travail, qui vont le poursuivre, les jeunes étudiants qui sont venus réellement nous prêter main forte, nous donner leur talent, les opérateurs culturels rwandais qui ont participé à ce travaux et l'ensemble aussi des invités et des participants qui étaient ici. Un grand merci aussi à nos partenaires qui nous ont accompagnés, les pouvoirs publics et les partenaires internationaux. Je voudrais finir pour vous convier, afin que nous puissions terminer quand même sur la musique, à la soirée qui suit. Nous avons une soirée DJ qui va se passer justement après ceci, à One Love, pour ceux qui connaissent le lieu. Et c'est un ensemble de DJ de East Africa et qui ont été rassemblés par le festival Nyege Nyege de Jinja, pour ceux qui le connaissent. Et donc, pour ceux qui souhaitent y aller, il y a des tickets à l'entrée. N'hésitez pas. Et un grand merci à tous.
So I would like to thank particularly the audience for your stamina. This has been a really long day. I think the last word should really go to architecture. When you don't know what the question is, you go to an architect. So thank you all. Thank you, the panel. Merci.